right, so we are going to work on some more elapsed time. For the sake of time, no pun intended, we are going to work on step by step. I'm not going to read the problem to you because you're going to have it in front of you, but we are going to underline our information. This is our start time, and this is our end time, so we know what that is. Now, if we notice, the hours are different, and when the hours are different, you are going to have to take an hour of power to survive. To solve. All right. Now, we know our start time, we know our end time. When we know our start time and end time, we have to subtract to figure out what is going on. Okay, so we have 7:15. It doesn't say a.m. or p.m., but since they're eating at night, we can safely assume that it is p.m. Okay. All right. So let's start to solve. We have 5 minus 0. We can solve that. We always try to do that first. We do try to do that first. If it can't be done, then we take other steps. So we cannot survive. We cannot survive. Here we go again. We cannot solve 1 minus 3 or 10 minutes minus 30 minutes. So we have to increase the value of this 1, which means we are going to have to take an hour of power. And we think of an hour of power. Again, we are in time. You think of 60 minutes. Okay, here's our hour of power, 1 hour less. Okay, then we add 6 plus 1. A lot of people do that. Some people just know that 6 plus 1 equals 7. Either one is acceptable. Okay, now we have enough time. We have 7 minus 3, or 70 minus 30, which equals 4. Okay, so it took them, how long did it take them to eat dinner? 45 minutes, and then you write your solution sentence with that. Okay, so now, when the people went to the restaurant, they got to the restaurant at 6:25. They said there's a 45-minute wait. I know it's hard for you to see right now because my copy came out very poorly. All right, so we know what time they got there. We know what time, how long they waited, but we don't know what time, that we don't know the time they got seated. That's what we have to figure out. All right, so when we have our start time, we have how much time went in between that, and then we have to figure out what time they finally got their seat. We don't know, in other words, we don't know the end time. All right, so when we don't know the end time, you have to ask yourself, okay, it's 6:25, and they have to wait 45 minutes. Are they waiting after 6:25 or before? Are they going forward in time or back in time? Is it before or after? Well, the answer is obvious that it's after 6:25 because there's 45 minutes more. So in order to figure out what the end time is, we know the start time. We know how much time was in between. We don't know the start time. That means we have to add. So 6:25 plus 45 minutes. All right. So 5 plus 5 equals 10. And then 10 or more go next door. Now we are in our tens over here, right? So in other words, 10 minutes, it's time. So 4 plus 2 equals 6. Plus 1 more equals 7. So we're going to do this 2 ways. So that's 7. All right. And then we have 670. Now, of course, we know that there's no such time as 670. I'm only doing this because I want to keep it in the camera. You should be much more organized than this. So we know that 70 minutes is, we have 70 minus 60. So that's 1 hour. And then we have 10 minutes left over. So we take 6 o'clock now. And we're going to add an hour plus 10 minutes. 1 hour plus 10 minutes. So, what time should they be seated? At 7:10. But you could do it one other way. So let's go back and let's solve it again. So again, we know our start time. We know how much time they waited, but we don't know what time they got seated. Now we do because we solved it before, but here's one other strategy. So 5 plus 5 equals 10. Regroup it. Okay, 4 plus 2 plus 1 equals 7. But if you know 70 minutes is an hour and 10 minutes, we do this and we regroup an hour of power, and that is 7:10. And that's how we can solve that. So, going to this next one, we have they order their food at 7:40 and their food came out at 8:20. So once again, we can see that it is a different hour, which means there's going to be, again, an hour of power. And you have to remember this. You really have to remember this. So think about this. An hour of power means 60 minutes. So we know our end time, which is 8:20. And we know the start time, which was 7:40. Okay, so we're going to show two different strategies that we can use to solve this. So we go to our first column. We can solve 0 minus 0, which equals 0. We can solve 2 minus 4 or 20 minutes minus 40 minutes. So we have to increase the value of these 20 minutes, just not enough. So we take our hour of power, okay? And then we add 60 minutes to the 2. Now you could do 6 plus 2. If you want to write it out, 6 plus 2 like this, you could do that. If you know 6 plus 2 is 8, you could just put the 8 right above there. Now we have enough time, so 8 minus 4 equals 4. It equals 4, okay, which is 40 minutes. So how long were they waiting for their food? 40 minutes. Don't forget the solution sentence. There's one other way that you could do this. Another way that you could do it, so we're going to check it out, is we have 8:20 and 7:40. So we know that we can have 8 o'clock. We could rewrite this. Or we can write 8 o'clock, and we have to put the 20 minutes off to the side. It's going to be like a little balloon that we hold at that time in. And then we could take 7:40, and we could write it like this, 7:40, and we put the 40 minutes off to the side. Excuse me. Okay, oops, I'm sorry, 7 o'clock. Okay, and we know that there's an hour difference. Now we have to take the 40. Whoops. I want to keep it in the picture. I know it should be more organized. I don't want to be a hypocrite, but I have very little space here. So 40 minus the 20, which equals 20 minutes. So now, excuse me. Okay, so now we have an hour here, and we have 20 minutes. So we're going to have 60 minutes minus the 20 minutes, which gives us 40 minutes. And as you can see, 40 minutes, 40 minutes. It's the same thing. All right, so let's take one more where we solve this. So this is how you're going to be checking your work. So the last word problem is they ordered some drinks at 4:15, and it was 30 minutes later. It's a little hard to read because it's a horrible copy, but they started at 4:15. They waited for 30 minutes.